times, each once exercising the entire nether regions so as to infuse the area with qi. And the stronger their energy has become. The record at the moment is 300 kilos. Ming and dozens of other students gathered to practice suspension kung fu. Before they learn how to suspend, they first need to learn how to tie knots, as this affects how much weight can be borne. The strings have to be all cotton or otherwise silk, because they have to be soft and unstretchable to prevent injury while suspending weights.
绑的话呢，这个我们如果说我们用这个绳子来绑的话，因为它是整个都是圆的，或者是如果说你用这个用套上去的呢，你一定要绑紧啊。你如果说没绑紧，你一直挂着，它很容易就掉，尤其掉到很重的几百磅的这个重量。
There are two ways of tying the string. Usually, a single suspension involves tying the string onto the penis. But when the weights of over 100 kilos are involved, the double suspension method is used, whereby the penis and the scrotum are tied together. The tying position is mainly at the rear half of the shaft. Before being tied up, the men have to warm up and suffuse their bodies with qi. This toad kung fu mimics the breathing action of toads and concentrates energy around the midriff through the expansion and contraction of the abdomen. After approximately 15 minutes, qi is focused at a pressure point called dantian, which is positioned between the lower belly and the groin, from where it is ready to flow into the sexual organ. To test whether each student has enough qi, the master will punch their bellies one by one. The most important preparation for suspension kung fu is to completely relax the sexual organ. The simplest way of doing this is through massage, and to avoid embarrassment, the students usually face the wall and put their hands in their pockets to do what needs to be done. These iron pieces are the main implements of their training. The smallest weights are 5 kilos, the medium-sized ones weigh 10 kilos, and the biggest weigh 20 kilos. Using both hands, our camera crew can only hold them for 2 seconds. But to this lot, such weights are merely for warming up. After the 10-kilo pieces have been hooked up, with an intake of breath, it's immediately hoisted up by the penis. And not only that, it has to be swung 100 times, each once exercising the entire nether regions so as to infuse the area with qi. So what are the secret techniques of suspension kung fu hidden behind the towel? Apparently, the hardest technique involves hoisting weights on a 45-degree erection. To do so, what apparently must fill the sexual organ is qi and not blood.
注意的地方就是说，你要充分的掌握它气的来到的时候，那么尤其男人起阳起来勃起，它是是一个等于说是一个时机一个状况，这个时机来的时候，那你比如说你勃起才能够这个房事。那你勃起的时候你才能够掉，但是勃起的时候不可以太强。我们的讲法叫做充气，不充血。如果说你充血，太厉害你这个勃起很厉害，你去掉的话，尤其掉得很重，就很容易造成出血甚至折断。
To test whether students have improved, the trainer will keep on adding weights. The heavier the weight, the more improvement they've made, and the stronger their energy has become. The record at the moment is 300 kilos, the equivalent of the weight of 6 ordinary persons. Today, Mr. Wang, Mr. Xu, and the other students are all challenging themselves to greater weights. The 78-year-old Mr. Xu is about to hoist 60 kilos. As he only weighs 65 kilos, this is almost his own body weight. But even while we're entertaining our doubts, up it goes on his manhood. After 3 years of training, 60-year-old Chen Ming is preparing to hoist 100 kilos worth of iron, or twice his body weight. Before hoisting, he has to spend a longer time than usual concentrating his qi, and the result, success. As for Mr. Wang, although he has trained for the longest time, the weight he is attempting is 180 kilos, the weight of 3 adults. That's why he and the trainer are both quite nervous. At last, he's hoisted it up. And not only that, he's also swung the 180 kilos by his private parts. According to the master, the pulling force is magnified hundreds of times. What we have just witnessed certainly boggles the mind, but a shred of doubt remains. Can this form of training really turn such a vulnerable part of the body harder than a steel? Is there any basis for this in the science of human anatomy?
咁係咪得到譬如話
当折断啊？那所以我们在这里奉劝，如果没有一个正确的指导，自己不要做。
Whether or not suspension kung fu can really increase the sex drive, it is a form of kung fu that has taken Taiwan by storm. In 20 years, the Juju Sun Kung School has expanded to such an extent that there are now over 1,000 students. It's the completion date of Juju Sun Kung's country villa outside Taipei. In celebration of the event, some of the students are preparing for an astounding performance. It's to pull this 20-ton truck by their penises. Around the world, many people have pulled trucks by other methods, but using the penis seems absolutely incredible. 3 people, all volunteers, will make the attempt. Their main pillar, as it were, is 43-year-old Chang Yong-chung. Mr. Chang has only practiced suspension kung fu for 2 years, so he hasn't exactly reached the proper level yet, but no one can match him in terms of his devotion to the art.
我平常的话，差不多1天或2天钓一次，钓一次差不多钓差不多100多斤。
Before he took up suspension kung fu, Mr. Chang's health was quite poor. For over 10 years, he had suffered from digestive problems as well as neck and back pains. But all these complaints disappeared just 2 months after he started training. Since then, he has practiced at home most days.
我太太她一直鼓励我去参加，所以说我才下定决心去参加。结果我太太发觉到我的皮肤以前是皱皱的，以前我的皮肤是这个鱼尾纹很多，现在全部都消失掉。
Mr. Chang's personal record is suspending 170 kilos, which is a few hundred times short of the target weight this time of 20 tons. That's why for 3 months he's been training intensively in the hopes of achieving the greatest possible power on the big day. On the day of the truck pull, about 100 people have gathered by 9 a.m. Many Juju Sun Kung students have come to the villa from Taipei to witness the event, and nearby residents have also come to see what the fuss is all about. It's half an hour from the performance. Mr. Chang and his 2 fellow students are warming up at the back garden. Just as they normally do in class, they massage their private parts to concentrate qi at the Datian pressure point. Essentially, pulling a truck should not be much different from suspending iron weights. But because they have never done it before, they are taking more time to prepare themselves. Their trainer is also a bit apprehensive about the performance. Time and time again, he hits them in their bellies to make sure they are fully charged with chi for the challenge up ahead. As for the knot tying method, it is rather different for pulling a truck than it is for suspending weights. One end of the rope is tied to the front of the vehicle, while the other end is tied by means of the double suspension method to the penis and the scrotum. As they have never pulled an automobile by their penises before, their master Tu Chin Tuan is going to transfer some of his own chi to them. Master Tu presses his hand to the Da Tian pressure point, and after 2 or 3 minutes, the energy transfer is complete. The atmosphere is very tense. Will they be able to do it? They begin to use their willpower to focus chi in their penises. Only 10 seconds, the truck begins to move. It doesn't stop until it's been pulled about half a meter.
因为以前没有拉过啦，刚开始会是觉得，因为平常也还有信心的哈，所以拉的时候，根据老师讲的，把全身气都灌下丹田，就拉起来还觉得蛮轻松的。
The Qigong performance continues, although one of the 3 drops out, leaving only Chang Yongchong and another. And the stakes are raised even further as 50 people climb onto the truck. The truck has increased in weight, and only 2 people are left to pull it. Again, Master Tu transfers energy to his students. But is this just mumbo-jumbo, or does it really increase their power? After about a quarter of a minute, the truck, now laden with 50 people, slowly begins to move. Success once again. Now Chang Yongchung will attempt to pull the truck, and the 50 people all by himself. After 2 performances already, Mr. Chang's energy has visibly diminished. So Master Tu uses the opportunity to transfer more chi to him in the hope of raising his strength again. After 2 or 3 minutes, Mr. Chang attempts what no one has ever done: to pull with his penis a truck with 50 people on it, a weight in excess of 20 tons. Can he do it? Everyone holds their breath as Mr. Chang concentrates on making his chi flow through his body to his penis. Unbelievably, the truck moves. It doesn't stop until it's been pulled almost a meter. Because the center of gravity in pulling is different from suspension, Mr. Chang says that by comparison, pulling is actually easier.
拉这个车好像是小巫见大巫，因为我们平常就吊很重，拉这个车子还没有运用到我们一半的功力出来，所以拉这个车只是外观看起来很壮观，还差不多我们的一半的功力而已。
So how far can Qigong push the limits of human physical ability? For practitioners of suspension kung fu, there may not be any limit at all, because their next target is to pull an aeroplane. Qigong is an incredible form of kung fu, but for the Chinese, it is also an all-curing form of medicine.
was never about money for us. It was about us against the system. That system that kills the human spirit. We stand for something. To those dead souls inching along the freeways in their metal coffins, we show them that the human spirit is still alive.